Talking this morning about a nearly $2 trillion pandemic relief plan from Joe Biden. The proposal includes $1,400 checks, increasing weekly unemployment benefits, raising the minimum federal wage to $15 an hour, and a nationwide vaccination effort. However, New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has already commented about it, and she says it's not enough. She wants more. Joining me right now is New York Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis. Congresswoman, it's great to see you this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. So let's talk about this plan first. Do you think this has any shot of getting passed?
Well, now that the Democrats control all levels of government, I'm sure it does have a chance of getting passed. And of course, people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez won't be satisfied. They won't be satisfied until we have complete socialism, which means government control over our lives and a guaranteed minimum income to pay for that. We have to make sure that any relief package going forward is tailored. The best relief package, quite frankly, is reopening our economy. I could tell you that as someone here in New York, seeing so many livelihoods destroyed by arbitrary mandates from our mayor and our governor. Of course, I'm concerned about the rise in first-time unemployment claims that have come out since the new year. But we also need to be mindful of the debt that we're racking up as a nation. So any relief package needs to be extremely tailored to help those who are currently unemployed or whose businesses are struggling as a result of mandates. Yeah. But I think the best thing the government can do is get out of the way and allow these businesses to reopen and get our economy back on track.
Yeah, but Congressman, we know that New York has been on lockdown, and last week Governor Cuomo changed his tune. What do you make of what he said last week when he said, look, we can't stay closed. It's going to be too expensive and we're not going to have any industry left. I'll tell you, he sounded an awfully a lot like President Trump last week when he did that flip-flop on the closing of New York.
Well, it's interesting now that President Trump is leaving and a new administration is coming in, how the governor is all about reopening this economy and getting people back to work. This is something that I've been saying for a long time, and I wish he had listened to me early on when I said that there is a balanced approach to reopening our economy. Of course, public health is paramount. We can reopen those safely, and particularly now, I've been pushing for an acceleration of vaccine distribution to those who want it. I see that changes are being made both at the local and the state level, which I'm happy about. And we need to make sure that we reopen this economy. And even though he's saying that, I still see that the restaurants in New York City are shut down, despite the fact that the science shows that they are not a contributing factor to the rise in positive cases.
Yeah, so many people lost their jobs as a result of that. The people working in restaurants, they don't know what to do. And then there's the security issue. There is this war on police that continues. Congressman, New York Attorney General Letitia James is now suing the NYPD, Mayor Bill de Blasio, and two of the city's top cops over their handling of protesters of last year's protests following the murder of George Floyd. This James suit alleges that the department used illegal and harmful tactics in their handling of the protesters and have for years. She's calling for a federal monitor of the department. Your reaction?
It's completely outrageous. Look, New York Democrats have put our NYPD under attack for years. First, we see the mayor tying their hands, not allowing them to prosecute or arrest individuals for certain crimes. Then we see the New York City Council defunding $1 billion. They ended the plain clothes unit. We saw a spike in crime as a result of that and a radical bail reform that took place at the state level. We even saw New York Democrat elected officials raise money to bail out rioters and looters, and they would be back on the street before a police officer's shift would end. Now the Attorney General is suing the NYPD, including its chief, Monahan, who was actually assaulted during one of the protests. These protests left hundreds of NYPD officers injured. Many went to the hospital. And on top of it, they destroyed businesses. So she should be investigating those individuals that caused this type of damage, not only to our police officers, but to mom and pop shops in our local economy. I think it's very misguided. Yeah. And I think that we need to show more respect and love and appreciation for our men and women in blue.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment. That's for sure. Look, it's not just the blow off and the treatment, the lack of support for the cops. That's just one reason that people are leaving New York and going to places like Florida. I have so many friends that I know who live in New York who have left, and now they live in Florida, or they're spending much of their time there. What does that do, in your view, to the budget? Talk to us about when this is going to come back to haunt New York, even Staten Island, in terms of what happens when you've got the decline in revenue from all of these people leaving and taking their tax dollars with them.
Well, Mayor de Blasio gave his fiscal forecast for the upcoming year. He's saying they're going to eliminate thousands of jobs at the city level, but also that they expect a $2.5 billion decrease in property tax receipts. And this is something that's very troubling, and I've warned for years that the mayor's increase in spending was very inappropriate. And this is a mayor who came in and off the bat just increased spending, about 30%. Now he's forced to reduce it, but it's too late. He never saved money. He never saved money for a rainy day, and certainly this is the rainiest of days, and now we are in a jam. And on top of it it's not just the spending, it's the increase in taxes that have really been driving people out, and the crime. People feel they're not getting the bang for their buck living in New York City. They don't feel safe. They're seeing crime soar. Quality of life has deteriorated. Remember, this is a mayor who just decided to tie the hands of police when it comes to graffiti and public urination and all these quality of life crimes. And so his handling of homelessness has been a disaster despite record spending. So all of it is now crashing down. Unfortunately, we've got to right the ship quickly with a new mayor next year that's going to take this stuff seriously.